Surprise.
Surprise. Here we are. All right. So, all right, everybody. Well, welcome back to the Player's Edge. Today you can see a few different people on the screen because we got two scratches. Tom and Terry had to celebrate more important family things. So we brought in the triple clowns, at least two of them anyway. We have the truck stop burrito, right, AJ?
Yes, sir.
And the beautiful Mrs. Big News, if I got that right. Sarah, because I screwed up my trivia when I was on your show the other day.
You did so poorly at trivia.
Now the pressure's on, Rich. Now you gotta get it right.
Now, I got that part right. And there's Sean, who is Swiss Army Sean, having some technical difficulties. So he may or may not be a part of the program throughout the evening. So if he comes in, he comes out. And it might be a part of what we're going to talk about first, because I think we're going to see two things this weekend that we haven't seen before. One, and we were talking about this a little bit in pre-show, is that on June 1st, they're going to announce officially, I guess, the government, whether or not there's such thing as UFO. So I figured we'd take bets on it. I'm going to put the line at 1-1. That there are UFOs, that they come out with that. So I'm on the yes side. Where do you stand, Sarah?
I'm on the yes side.
AJ?
Well, okay, I've seen all these. I could have sworn they did this before. They released a bunch of they declassified a bunch of documents, and then 60 Minutes just did this whole big UFO spiel, a week ago.
They're all gearing up for the big day.
Dude, 100% UFOs real.
Yeah, they're putting out those trial balloons so that we don't freak out. Aliens!
Yeah.
How about you, Sean? Where are you at? Are you on the yes or no? Are you going to be the contrarian?
I'll be the oddball. Yeah, I'll be the oddball, and I'll say no.
Yeah, that's why you keep disappearing. You're being
abducted.
Yeah.
So the second thing this weekend, I'm not sure what we're going to see. Tomorrow, they open up racing at Monmouth Park with no whip rules. What do you guys expect to see from that? You think the horses are just going to all look like they shook their jockeys and they're running around the track? I have no idea what to expect.
I don't either. You're going to see a lot of fines from jockeys instinctually whipping their horse. We'll see. It's going to be odd, and I completely disagree with it. I mean, we have issues with that in California with our whip rule here. So, good luck, Monmouth.
Yeah, when we talked to Mike Smith, he was not happy about that rule whatsoever at all. And he had mentioned to us that you can't even use it to correct a horse. And he had said, much like walking his dog was the analogy he gave us, that if the dog sees a squirrel, he knows before the dog knows that the dog is going to react to the squirrel. He also knows from experience that the horse is going to react before the horse reacts. And he can take corrective measures before it's too late. And he said, unfortunately, with Monmouth, you can't take corrective measures before it's too late. So you can't stop the horse from ducking once he's already ducked, right?
Exactly. You know, the whip rule's out here. We've lost 2 jockeys so far. They've left. 3 now. And we've talked to jockeys out here about it. And they're just like, when they made this rule, they didn't have the people vote on it who mattered, who it affected.
Mm-hmm. The jockeys, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So there's reasons why they use the whip, and it's to steer, and it's, to avoid a collision or something. There's reasons for it. It's not, they don't just whip the horse to whip the horse.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, AJ? The horse that gets to the lead is going to win every race?
Well, that's the thing. I'm 100% going to stay away from Monmouth Park all weekend. Not that I was super excited to bet it, but it was another good track that you had out there. Also, too, I mean, we make a big deal about essentially hitting a horse with a foam noodle. From what we've heard about these whips, I mean, it's not like they're hurting this 2-ton animal or half-ton animal, I guess. No, I just think it's going to be a disaster. I just don't understand how this is going to be good for anybody. It's not good for bettors because now, I mean, why would you want to bet that park when you know all of a sudden all these horses, they're entering a race now in an entirely different scenario where they're not going to be able to. You don't have the jockey telling you what to do, where to steer, where to go. I think it looks bad, and I think shame on Monmouth Park for doing this, really.
Well, they're to their defense, they're saying it's the state of New Jersey. They're actually trying to play it both ways when you
shame
read it
on New Jersey, then.
Whoever. Not much good it comes out of New Jersey anyway, right, Sean? You're in Pennsylvania. There ain't nothing good in New Jersey, is there?
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania, not New Jersey, though. Yeah. The Jets come from New Jersey, so we'll go with that.
There you
Like
go.
I said,
I think it's going to be follow the leader. Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be follow the leader. So I guess if you can predict who's going to get the lead, you should be able to get the winner.
yeah. So just straight out of the pack, whichever horse gets the lead, the herd mentality kicks in.
It did come out. It did come out today too. Nick Juarez was supposed to serve a 5-day suspension, and they're cutting it to 1 day. He's going to start riding Saturday because of the lack of jockeys. So jockeys are not happy about that.
Yeah. I don't
already
blame
making
them.
adjustments. Yeah, me either. I don't blame them for that. So then one more track thing. We're going to do the pick 4 at Churchill. And as I was handicapping for this, the late pick 4 on Saturday, some races have Lasix, some races don't have Lasix. So the stakes races, no Lasix.
Yep.
No stakes races, you can use all the Lasix you want. Do you think that makes any sense, or do you think it should be uniform there? All races are Lasix or no races are Lasix?
I think it needs to be uniform. I would say Lasix. We've kind of seen how the no Lasix has been going. We've talked about it a lot on our show, and it's kind of been a mixed bag. But there's some horses that are staying away from the no Lasix tracks.
Yeah, I can understand that too. And I know, AJ, a couple times you've brought up the Lasix stuff. What do you think about that?
I absolutely despise the no Lasix rule, especially it would be one thing if you wanted to do this. The 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, there it should already be grandfathered in. If you wanted to start at the 2-year-olds now and say, if you're 2 years old or younger, from here on out, there is no Lasix in any race that you run. But now that you're going to have 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds who have raced on Lasix their entire careers, now these big races, they can't do it anymore. I've said this a couple times in our show. I truly believe Gamine will be a casualty of the Lasix because the last 2 races I've seen her run off Lasix doesn't even look like the same horse. And I think it's going to be detrimental to a lot of the horses that we've seen, run for the past couple of years in these big races. And who was it we just said went to Lone Star, Sarah?
Easy Rocket.
Easy Rocket. It's going to Lone Star. Yeah. Why even bother? I was going to Lone Star where I can run on Lasix because at this point, to just cut it out in certain races and not them all. I agree it should be uniform, but I do believe it should be a process. I don't think it should just be, we're done.
Yeah.
Cold turkey.
Because my biggest concern then, how is the Breeders' Cup going to look? Because it's going to be out in California.
Yeah,
you have horses now that are Breeders' Cup horses that are avoiding California because of the LASIK. So what does this mean for the Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, maybe a downgrade in some of the competition if horses don't want to come along, which would be sad for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
For sure. And for horse players, because you're not going to get to see the best compete. I don't know. I haven't seen the research on it, but I personally don't feel like Lasix is the reason why the horses are breaking down. Maybe they're able to breathe and run a little bit better, but I think it's deeper. I think they're packing on too much muscle on the frame, and they're just not made for it.
100%. If we're blaming Lasix, that's been happening for years and years and years since I want to say 80. I looked this up before. It was somewhere in the 80s, I believe. It was kind of became more of a uniform thing. 70s probably. It's been a long time. Let's just put it that way. And now all of a sudden we're like, oh well, this is the reason. Like, we've been doing this for how long? And there was a study done by a vet up in New York who talked about, I get less horses breaking down when they're on Lasix. I get less calls about these casualties since Lasix was introduced. I believe it was 86 in New York. It became a uniform thing where you could run on Lasix in all races. And they said, like, I usually had, all these bleeders come to me all the time. Since Lasix, not a problem. Like,
not a problem.
Yeah, it was a quarter of what he used to get prior to Lasix being introduced in the New York circuits. I mean, I just think horse racing is looking to please the outside sources like PETA and some of the the state judiciaries who are kind of against it because of the inhumane and all that bullshit we always hear. And so they're like, well, maybe we can get rid of LASIK. Not the case. I think it hurts the sport more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's not the reason horses are breaking down whatsoever at all.
No.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's talk about our picks breaking down, or if we can break down them some winners. We're going to do the late pick 4 at Churchill Downs on Saturday. It starts in race 8. It's not under the lights racing like last week, but at 4:22 p.m. is the Regret Stakes. I almost made a Snickers commercial out of that, putting it backwards. So it's 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Grade 3 for $150,000. 3-year-old fillies. Sarah, the floor is yours. Who do you like and why?
Oh, right. I went 3 deep here. First off, I really like the 7 Gams Mission here at 5-1. Pretty good price. I like Adam in the irons here. I just feel like this horse has been getting better and better. This horse is stretching out a bit. This is for me, after looking at this horse's PPs, as far as this race, it's hard to leave this horse off your ticket. I also like the 2 here. Money for Row at 12-1. Really good price to be adding to your ticket in this sequence. We got DVD in the irons. I feel like you can't go wrong with DVD at all. There's Brian Lynch has a strong rating for going from allowance to stakes races. And that's one thing I like to pay attention to. So that's another reason why I'm definitely playing this 12-1 shot in my sequence. But this horse, he looked really good. He looked 2 races back at Keeneland. He looked really good going 1 1/8 on the turf there. Mm-hmm. So I think this horse is just he got 1 race under the belt so far at Churchill. Hopefully he'll be getting used to the track there, coming back on the turf at the end. 21 days later, I think it's a good play here. I think he definitely has a shot. And then I liked the 8 here, Flown at 9-2. I thought it was a little bit hard to not put this horse on your ticket. This horse, I think, is needing to go a bit longer. Really. Mm-hmm. But with Ricardo Santana in the irons, I'm excited to see how this horse really performs. It seems like, he's another one that he came to Churchill. He has a race under his belt here. He only lost by a neck to Gams Mission. So that's why I felt like the 7-8 were kind of hard not to play. If you're going to play one, you're going to play the other. So those were my picks. I would do 7 on top with the 2-8.
And the 8 horse for me was one of those, I like him too, but it was one of those LASIK concerns for me because he ran really well last time out, first time's LASIK, and now he's coming off the LASIK. You see the same thing, AJ?
Okay, so again, here the weird part is with LASIK, and I also gave you my picks wrong. I want to say that before. I think I told you beforehand I had 1, 2, 7, 8, but I don't. So
surprise us.
Yeah, surprise.
Good job.
No, because there's some horses that you see who have come off LASIK and haven't missed a beat. Mm-hmm. It just puts a little bit of doubt in the back of your mind when that happens, right? Because sometimes it affects people and sometimes it doesn't. It's like any other drug you give any human being, like it just has a different effect. So for this one, when I look at the LASIK angle, I didn't play it super big here because I did kind of just go with, I really liked that big allowance race at Churchill with that a couple of these horses are in. Now, I think the 7 might be a sham, even though it won last time, because I do think the 8 and the 2 were gunning for that 7 in that race. I think both of those horses, to me, especially the 2 at 12-1, getting a big price early might be, because I do think this horse wants longer too. And the 8 Flown, again, yeah, you get the LASIK angle, but if it's not a big deal, which hopefully it won't be, I think the 2 and 8 are my favorites. I did throw in the 7. Just because who knows what that horse is going to be. If you're talking about the LASIK angle, when I looked at the 9, which was kind of the one big one that stood out to me, but there could be others, I guess. Maybe the 5. They were already just running a short distance, and he didn't really stick out to me at a mile, or she, I guess it's for the race. It didn't really stick out to me at a mile. So for now, I'm just going to say 2-8, and I'll throw the 7 in there just in case, but I'm going to go 2-8-7 like Sarah did. And Sarah probably picks the best out of the three of us on the show, so I feel pretty good about that.
Well, Sean, you agree with a lot of that.
Yeah, this is the one I went 4 deep here. Every other race I went 3 deep. I did make number 7, Gam's Mission, as my top pick. Run really well in 3 career starts. Like everything about this horse, the only thing that I was hesitant about is the trainer, Cherry DeVoe, is 0 for 30 in graded stakes. So that was definitely concerning. Then I also did use the 9.
He's due then. He's due.
Very much due. Gambler's fallacy. He's due.
She's due.
Well, the trainer. Oh, yeah. Well,
yes.
You're right, yeah.
That's all right.
The number 9, I like multi-dimensional. I think she'll get the lead from the outside. And unlike the 7, Brad Cox sits at 25% in graded stakes. Also, 400 Rue is a very good stakes rider, a big rider. Has been in exacta 4 of 5 starts on the turf. And then I used the 8. Just lost the top pick, number 7. So obviously, if I like the 7, I got to use the 8. And then I went with the morning line favorite just so I didn't get knocked out that first race. Plus, Spanish Love Affair hasn't lost in any races that aren't a grade 1 or grade 2. So going to the grade 1, I think fits right in.
Well, the one thing about Spanish Love Affair, the change up of Lasix is not going to make a difference whatsoever at all. That's horses run that way the entire time. So for me, I'm pretty much on board with everything. But I have one other horse in here. I'm going with the 4, the 7, the 4, 5, 7, and the 8. But the 5 horse, Barista, is another horse that's never run on Lasix and has done pretty well at Churchill with a win and a second. So I expect you're going to see the horse run fairly well once again. Was up against some of these before, didn't run so well, but the second time off the start, big speed number jump in the last race. If there's an improvement here, the horse could, I think, make some easy work of this field, which is kind of saying something for a horse that's didn't get any play from anybody else. So that's how you can get a bigger payout, hopefully. But I don't want to be the only one that's right and screw up the rest of the show for everybody else. That's not nice.
Well, the 5 has run on Lasix before.
Yeah, it has twice.
I thought you said never ran on Lasix.
No, I said maybe I meant to say Lasix shouldn't be an issue because it's one of those better races off Lasix. Yeah. Trying to think and speak at the same time and move things around.
It's difficult.
It's difficult. It is indeed, especially for someone who's just kind of like single-mindedly focused all the time. Too many things moving around at once.
That is weird. That's actually a good angle too, because some of this horse's better races have been off Lasix.
Mm-hmm.
Especially it's maiden win at Churchill at a mile. Yeah.
And it's run its better races at Churchill too. So 2 of its better numbers there. So we'll see. That's the great fun of it all. Then we're going to move off to race number 9, the Matt Win Stakes. It's kind of the marquee race of the day, 1 1/16 miles for some horses here that were in the Kentucky Derby. Didn't take on a whole lot of money, but some of them ran all right. And once again, Sarah, the floor is yours. Who are you going to start your second leg with?
Well, I am not giving you guys a good price here. I went very chalk, 2 deep, starting with Helium. I liked Helium. He struggled in the Derby, but I do think coming back, I don't think he's going to have a problem in this race. Honestly, depending on what I'm going to play, I would almost single him. But the horse I'm also going to play, like I said, super chalky. I'm going with the 5 here. This horse is undefeated on dirt. We have Florent in the irons with Brad Cox, a combo you cannot go wrong with. This is just a good-looking horse. And so it's kind of hard to take, undefeated on turf, and then Helium, the only race he's really lost was the Derby. So I just went 2-5. I'm not giving you guys a good price here, but I feel like those 2 horses were hard not to pick.
And AJ, you're going 2 deep too.
No, this is the one I'm going 3, the one that I messed up when I gave you my picks.
All right, so you are surprising us.
Yes. So, well, originally you thought I was going 4 deep in the first. I lied. Well, I didn't lie. I just accidentally sent
You just
sent
changed
the
your
Hey,
mind
wrong
on the
information.
fly.
no.
That's cool.
No, I sent you the wrong information on the fly. So Helium, toss him. Obesos, toss him.
Out.
I will take Sarah's 5 there. I do like the 5 Folsom, but I'm gonna go with an old favorite of some of ours, the 7 Sitting on Go, who did win the Iroquois Beer here way back when on Derby Day. Well, I guess it wasn't a year ago, a little less than a year ago. Won Derby Day, beat Midnight Bourbon Super Stock. Clearly, this horse, I mean, can win on this track. That's a big plus right there, right?
Can he handle 2 turns?
Well, hold on, I'm gonna get there. God damn it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Obviously, this horse has now been, mile and 16th, mile and 8th. But when I look at where, the horses that went west between Greatest Honor, Essential Quality, highly motivated, especially that Bluegrass at Keeneland, it came back at the Pat Day Mile. I can throw out the Pat Day Mile. Jackie's Warrior and Dream Shake ran one of the greatest races we'll see all year. That whole thing was awesome.
That's true.
So, someone coming back to Churchill now for the second time that's running on this thing, on this horse. I don't think a mile and 16th. I think he can get there, and I don't think he's going to be bet very high. I think 8-1. I think he's going to be a big overlay. I really do. So I'm going to throw him in there as well, and the other one because I couldn't pull the trigger on the 2 of the 3. I just couldn't. I don't like either of them, if I'm being honest. When I watched the Ready to Pounce in that maiden special weight, and I typically hate a maiden winner going to a graded stakes race. I typically hate it, but this horse has got a mile and 16th in it. Clearly, I mean, I think it's got a lot more in it than just a mile and 16th. I'm just going to take a shot at 15-1 because I think 15-1 is a pretty good price for this horse that could be the real deal. So, I mean, if you want to go back to the Lasix thing, ran on Lasix the first 2 times, sure. But it's still a young horse. It's only ran twice before. We'll see how that affects it, and if this horse is going to be a stakes competitor going on from here. So 15-1, let me get that price in there. So I'm going 5-7-1.
I do like that he'll be close to the pace, and that in his last race, breaking his maiden, that late pace number was definitely up there with even the closers in this race. So if he's on the pace and he's got late pace numbers that can keep him in front of the closers, you're ahead of him and you're faster at the end. It's going to be tough for them to catch him. That's one of my favorite angles for speed horses. But I hate the maiden to the.
I hate it
straight
too.
up.
This
so
may
much
be
money
the
like
first
that.
time
Oh,
in
yeah.
everything we've ever done on our show.
I
This
know. I
might
can't
be the
believe you're
first
pushing
time
that
I've ever
hard.
gone a maiden special weight to a graded stakes race and said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, save it for us. What the heck?
yeah."
Wow.
Changing the picks on the fly and trying something new.
Yeah.
Already abducted. Sean, how about you?
I didn't see much pace in here. I thought the number 6 Hello Hot Rod was going to get the lead, and then maybe the 1 Ready to Bounce, and number 2 Helium will sit right off. I think Helium gets a nice trip in here. Might be the best horse in here. I mean, I was really high on Obesos, but I don't think there's enough pace for Obesos in here. But I ended up using him because he was one of my Derby sleepers, so I'm not going to get burned by him. So I went with the 3 favorites here. The 2 Helium, number 5 Folsom, and number 3 Obesos. I don't see much outside of those 3, so I feel like I definitely get through with those 3. I just don't get a price.
I feel like because there's not a lot of pace, so Bezos won't be as far back as usual. So he'll be able to use that late kick to get in front of and stay in front of Helium, who he pounded when they faced off. But that was only one time in the Kentucky Derby, so we'll see. And then I agree with Sarah. I like Folsom, the 5 horse. I think it's close to a single, as close as you can get in this race, the 5 horse. It should show more this time out than it did last time. It has trained fairly fast at Churchill Downs. And if you remember correctly, Sean, when Mike Smith was on the show, he told us pay special attention to horses that are shipping into Churchill, because how they train is how they run. And if how they train is how they run, then 5 could well be a single. We'll find out. I kind of hope so because I only went too deep here. And last week I got knocked out of the pick 5, I think, in this round. So I don't want that again.
He also loves the dirt. He was on turf the first 3 races, then had a sloppy track and won, and then had the dirt, a fast track and won. So
with a big late move. Yeah, I like that too. Brad Cox, Florent, you can't go wrong with that combination ever.
We can't at all.
No, they actually have. This surprises me about this duo because Brad Cox is a well-known, top-notch trainer. Florent is one of the top jockeys in the world, and yet when they team up, they still have a positive ROI, which to me is almost mind-blowing because it's very difficult to find in horse racing a positive ROI with any angle that pays, let alone a top connection between jockey and trainer. So that kind of blows my mind every time I see that those two have a positive ROI. So just bet them and you make money. You don't even have to do anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn a profit. Yeah, for
You'd be good with that. I should start doing that. I haven't been able to turn a profit in a while.
That's the name of the game, Sarah. And you're the best of the 3, according to AJ.
I know. Thanks, AJ. You're too kind. My wallet disagrees, but you know.
He's too kind for sure. Oh, and then race number 10 is
I'm defined by the word kind quite a bit.
Somehow I think that's probably not true. Am I guessing if we could do the trivia again, did I get that one right?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Good news. Rich got his second question right.
1 week later.
All of Horse Racing Radar's contests this weekend are free. Congrats, everybody.
Congrats.
You got trivia questions for them, right?
I hit him up with the UFO question to start with, so that's about it for me. Like I can ask him, "What's your nickname?" and see if they can figure it out.
Well, it's on the screen.
I know I was going to say
Switchblade.
Switchblade Sean.
Yeah.
No, dang it.
No,
he's kind of got that look. You don't want to cross him for sure.
There's the only other knife I knew that started.
Watch out for Sean. He's dangerous.
No, he's a great guy for sure. All right, race number 10, the third leg. This is the one that always kills me. It's either the third or the fourth leg. The $150,000 Aris Tides Stakes, 6 furlongs, a sprint, shortest race, deepest field, and yet this is one that people didn't go all that deep in, surprisingly. Sarah, you still have the floor. It's yours. It's like golf. You got honors.
All right. Well, I will just go down. I only went 3 deep here, so I like the 1 here at 10-1 Haunt. I think this is a good horse. He is dropping back in distance a furlong, which I think is only going to benefit this horse a lot. And he's raced in high purse races before, so that's something to pay attention to. I was kind of surprised why he was 10-0. I feel like he might be bet down. Another horse that I like as well, I feel like I couldn't not leave him off my ticket, but it was Empire of Gold. We'll see how he does come into Churchill. He hasn't ran at Churchill before, so we'll see. I mean, like Rich just alluded to when talking to Mike Smith, really pay attention to the horses that are training there. Churchill, we have seen it over and over again where some horses just don't like the track there. So we'll see, but I think this horse is definitely going to be the speed of the race. I see this horse being the first around the turn. And then the last horse I'm playing is the 10 Tap It to Win at 3-1 with Tyler. I'd say just really throw out his last race. It was kind of a tough race for him. But I feel like he has great speed here, especially in the 10th, like Rich was saying, it's one of the deepest races. I just really kind of see him kind of sitting behind the pace and really waiting to make his move. But you really look at how he was doing before. He has really great races. He just had a bad trip last time out. If he gets the perfect race, I think he could really just take the field here.
This is the one horse in the entire day when I was handicapping that scares me the most off the no Lasix angle. If you look, the last 9 races, LLLLLLLL.
Named it.
And then the last race out, speed, faded, no Lasix. This horse looks to me like it needs Lasix because it got the speed and then faded. I would be huge on this horse the next time it gets Lasix because he'll be able to maintain his speed, but it scared the hell out of me, and it sounds like it scared the hell out of you, AJ.
No, exact opposite.
You like it? Second time off the Lasix?
100%.
Well, but also look at who he raced against last race. Okay, I'm sorry.
My
go
turn
ahead. My bad.
To me, this horse dropped out. So I can, whatever. But when you look at when it was in there, I don't know if it. I mean, I don't know for sure it dropped out because maybe it was bleeding, maybe it couldn't take it. I think I can't even say this for sure. But if there was something else that was involved, look at the splits: 21-9, 44-2, and then couldn't finish. So if this was anything else other than it just having, the lung issue, the LASIK issue, then this horse is going to win this race by 1,000. This is my favorite race on this card. I'm most excited to watch this race. Or not the card. I haven't looked at the rest of the card, but of this sequence, I'm actually more excited to watch this race than anything else because I think there's a lot of great contenders in here. But I do like Tapper to win because I like coming back now the second time off of LASIK. Clearly, Mark Cass thinks that sending him back into this race with we're dropping him back an extra furlong in a lower quality stakes race here at Churchill. When this horse was competing with the likes of Flagstaff, Lexingtonian, and Whitmore for the first half of that race until it had to drop out. So maybe there's something else there. Maybe it wasn't the LASIK, wasn't the bleeding, wasn't what it seems to be on the surface. So I think I could single this horse. I really could. But I do like the 3 as well, and I have to throw him in there as well. Because this horse again, was in that race and was 2.5 off of Flagstaff, Lexingtonian, and Whitmore. What a field. And those horses aren't in this race. So to me, this horse has gone against the 3 best sprinters. Well, there's a lot of great sprinters in this division, but 3 of the best sprinters in this division. And just when you look at all the horses it's lost to consistently over the course of the last, 6-8 months. Shit. Not to mention this horse does have a win at Churchill, which is huge, especially on that dirt there. So yeah. So at 4-1, I think that's a great play because there's so many horses I could talk myself into, but I'm going to stick with the 310. I very well, I can't speak. Very well, and end up throwing the 9 in. But for now, for the sake of the show, because I was told I only had $50 to spend, I'll go 310.
I think you have room to throw one more in there though, because you only went like $24 or something like that.
Yeah,
so.
you had plenty.
And then you
of room
took one out on your first leg, so you got plenty of room. You want the 9 in there? Throw the 9 in there.
All right, fine. I'll throw the 9.
Yeah,
well, that was a lot of convincing there. I was
looking. It took a lot of arm twisting for sure.
I know. I was looking a lot at the 3 here too, but I just didn't want to go
Bingo,
that.
Bango.
Bingo,
How about you, Sean?
Oh.
You're going to put the 3 in because you've been going the deepest in every race. So you're going to all this one?
No, I went 3 deep. I agree with AJ on the 10. I think it was just too fast. I don't really think it had anything to do with the LASIK at all. Right. I am concerned, though. There is a lot of speed in this one. I could see 6 horses going for the leader sitting right off, but I do think the 10 can sit off the speed and do well. I did look at a stat after I submitted these picks, though. It looks like the outside the 10 post might be like 0 for 18 so far on the meet, so on a 6 furlong race, so that's not
well, you already got a trainer who's 0 for 30 in graded stakes, so let's
now you're worried about 0 for 10?
We're breaking trends on Saturday, apparently.
That's how you make money, betting against the trends.
Yep. So then I also went with the 8 Mojo Man. I think 10-1 morning line. I liked him because there is a lot of speed, and I was looking for something to come from the back. Thought the 8 could do that. He likes the distance, winning 7-17 at 6 furlongs, and the most experienced runner in the field, running 26 times. And then I used what could be the speed of the speed in the 5 Empire of Gold. Very fast. Ultimately, I think he gets the lead. 6 furlong distance, finishing the exact 4 or 5 career races, or 4 or 6 career races, and David Cabrera is aboard, who's a really good speed jockey, is on him for the 3rd straight race.
So I'm kind of a combination of everybody. I agree with AJ. I think my top pick here is the 3 horse. He's run really well at Churchill, 4 wins in 7 races. at the distance, it's been 4 wins in 6 races. Third time off a layoff, I expect that you'll see him improve those fractions. Last time out, as AJ brought up a couple times, were just blistering fast. Now he's cutting back. If they go out in 21 and 44 again, with 1 furlong less, I think he's going to be able to improve enough on the third time off a layoff. If you look back at his last 3 race cycle, the third race was the best of the 3. So I think you're going to see the same cycle play out here. A lot of my favorite angles in here: cut fractions, cutting back, fast horse, loves the track, loves the distance, working out exceptionally well at Churchill. I mean, just checks every box, so you can pretty much guarantee he's going to be dead last. I also like the 5 Empire of Gold, 6 furlongs. I think about 35% of the horses wire the field. If you can get to the lead, you can keep the lead at Churchill in 6 furlongs. He's probably got the best shot of doing that. And then I'm going to go with number 9. I'm going to take Sir Alfred James. You're not going to have to twist my arm to do it. And I'm leaving Tapit to win out because I think, to me, it looks like it was a Lasix issue. I could be wrong, but I expect if he runs like that again, you'll see him be a horse that ships off somewhere where they can run in stakes races on Lasix. And now the most important leg, because you can't win the pick 4 if you don't win the first leg and you don't win the last leg. So the race one, I don't know about you guys, but how many times have you gotten to the final leg and just watched it blow up with your horse getting nipped at the wire by a nose?
At least 500 times last week.
That didn't happen to us in our pick 5. I just got smoked because I had a scratch and then the race didn't play out the way I expected. And that bothers me too about making picks on Thursday for Saturday because some of these horses might not be in the field. So
we run into that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, great, everyone. Tom and Thomas here.
Is Tom he back?
Tom here. Yeah. Tom in the comments.
I can't see them because I can't watch YouTube and do this at the same time because I'd be way confused. So if you want to read it out, somebody, that's awesome.
Don't you have like the?
You can see them in
on YouTube. You see the comments.
I can't see them. I don't know how to use all this stuff yet. I'm just learning. I'm a newbie. I'll get it. I think I'm doing all right so far. Only been confused.
Tom's in here and he likes Edge. I think it's Edgemont Road. Is it not?
Edgemont Road.
Yeah, he said Edgemore Road, but isn't it Edgemont?
I don't know. I clicked out of that race already. I should on that.
Well, hold on. Let me see here. Yeah, it's Edgemont Road. So Tom says, I don't know how to cap horses. Well, clearly you don't know how to spell, Tom. So
that's part of it.
Tom and AJ just go at it all the time.
Yeah, butt heads, huh?
At least Tom admits that he can't spell.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, you know, we've been talking a lot about
mine
this.
either.
Well,
all right, let's close it out with the Douglas Park.
Enough about Tom.
I know.
Yes. Let's talk about horses. We had Tom last week, so but we'll be happy to have him back.
Come on now.
Great guest, indeed.
Yeah.
So the Douglas Park, a really good friend of mine, his name is Douglas Parks, and I wonder if it was named after him, but it's not plural, so it can't be. So 1 in 116 miles on the turf. Yeah, it could be, right? This is a for 4-year-olds and up, getting a little out of control right here. All right, Sarah, bring it back in order. Who's going to win this one?
Well, oh, goodness. I went 3 deep here. Honestly, really, none of these horses stuck out to me like a solid, comfortable pick. But I'll start here with the 4 Ramsey Solution at 6-1. But with Julian and Wesley, that's not a bad combo. Wesley has a good rating for first time coming off of a layoff. That was kind of a selling point with this one. This horse has won at the same distance at Churchill last May. I think this horse is really going to be the pace setter here. And he's been performing pretty well on turf. Yes, his last race was on turf. Could be just a situation where they needed to have him run, and he did extremely well. Gate to wire there. The next horse I like is the 8 Set Piece at 2-1 with Florent in the irons. He's hit the board 9 out of 14 times. That's pretty good. And like we've said again on repeat here, Florent and Brad Cox, you cannot go wrong with that combo. And I also like the 9 Gray's Fable at 6-1. It's the second try at Churchill on the turf at Churchill. This horse is stretching out, which I think is exactly what this horse needs. So we're going to see how this horse really plays out. I do kind of see this horse in the 4 possibly battling out for the lead around the turn, but those are my 3. Like I said, I really struggled here with this race because really nothing stuck out to me.
AJ, now you said before the show started you had 3 horses. I'm curious to see if you still have 3. If
No, I still got 3 in this one. What was Sarah's 3?
She has
489.
489. Yep.
Okay. Wow, Sarah, I'm a little disappointed. You come over to Churchill and you've got a horse who's been competitive in Southern California, and you're not going to pick that horse?
I know.
Wow, no. Another mystery is all over my board. I know this horse seems like it needs to go longer. Maybe it wants to go longer, but look at the horses. United Originaire, Red King, all those horses that it's gone against. But also, this horse has been competitive at a 1.8 and a 1.16. I really like this horse. I really do. Lasix may be a thing. Maybe that's why they're dropping him back to a 1.16. We don't know. But anytime I go to a different track and I see the horse that's competitive in SoCal, I believe it can go anywhere else and be competitive there too, because typically that's what we see. So I have the 2. I'm all over the 2. And a horse that's beat that 2 is a 3 Parlor. The old 7-year-old coming in here. Again, competition wise, Ivar, Raging Bull, Without Parole, Flavius, War of Will, Spooky Channel. The horses this is continued to have to go against. It's absolutely ridiculous. I especially liked the last time it ran, or the last 2 times it ran this distance at Churchill in a high level allowance and a grade 2, both times right there, just right there. And then the time before that, winning at Fairgrounds. Every time this horse runs, it puts up a sensational number. I have a hard time believing that it won't do that again. Gaff jumps off, I believe, and goes to the SoCal horse. So again, think what you will there, but 2-3 is big for me. And then I cannot deny the 8, especially after watching the last time it ran here. Granted at a mile, but a mile and to a 1.16 does not scare me at all with this horse. You could single this horse, and I wouldn't think you were wrong. I would go set piece here as well, but I will go because I do have the budget. Apparently, if it's at $50 and I already added a horse, I'm going to go 2-3-8.
2-3-8. And Sean, what are you going to do?
I'm agreeing with Sarah here. I have the 489. I actually like the 9 as my top pick. Has a bunch of speed and it's 4 for 10 on turf lifetime. Will be his 3rd start after a 6-month layoff. And he's been working out great since his last race a month ago, where he led most of the race and then faltered to finish 3rd. The 8, I think he'll be the closer of the race, and he ran down number 9 Grace Fable last race. He will look to run the speed down again. He's won 2 of 3 career races on Churchill's turf course, and it's Cox and Garou again. And then Ramsey Solution, another one with a lot of speed and loves Churchill. 2 for 2 at Churchill's turf, and won his last race, which was at Churchill, and taken off the turf. So he's 3 for 3 overall.
Yeah, for me, I have everything everybody else has got. I figured I have to start off with 4 and end with 4 and hope that I can do okay with a little less in the middle. So I'm taking everybody's picks, the 3, the 4, the 8, and the 9. So the only one I don't have is the 2. Maybe if I have a little bit of budget, I'll work that one in there later on. So what we'll do too, of course, like we do always, we'll put everybody's picks online. I'll put them in a nice little matrix to keep it up and make it easy to follow, so you don't have to write it all down as we go along, if you haven't already. And then you can keep track of that at Horse Racing Radar and enter our free contest, because I got one more trivia question.
It's now free
right tonight.
You guys are
now free.
So Sarah and AJ, if the folks want to follow you, where can they keep up with you?
Sarah, take it.
All right. Well, you can check us out on YouTube. We are on DGen Nation now on YouTube. You can also just Google the Triple Clowns. You see our YouTube page there as well. Follow us on Twitter at Clowns Triple, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all of it.
TikTok yet or no?
Yes, sadly, yes.
They are.
Yes, we
They are
are.
on TikTok. They are.
We are on TikTok.
When I say they are, it's Sarah. I
It's just
believe.
me. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Okay, guys, fine. I said it. I said it out loud. I'm on TikTok.
Hey, no problem. Do you have a sense of who your guest is for this weekend yet, or no?
We will.
He's half amazing, half alien.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
goes along with the UFO theme.
Exactly.
Yes. So
That's exactly how we planned it.
we exactly. So we're gonna release that right after the FBI releases their story.
Yep.
Perfect. Great timing.
Yeah.
It must have been something you thought out, and I did it on the fly. So
100%. We had it
Because this is what we do,
had it
Rich.
mapped out
You
weeks
know
ago.
our show.
much better organized than we are for sure. We can't even get the internet to work. Sean's
No.
gone from the internet to the hotspot to the phone now, right, Sean?
Yeah, it was my turn. I wasn't having any internet issues. Now all of a sudden you passed it along to me. So
And I thought there was just an earthquake in eastern Pennsylvania.
not yet.
So if folks want to follow us, Sean, besides the YouTube, Tom and Tom who's watching along, where else can they follow us?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the Players Edge Podcast.
Fantastic. AJ, Sarah, as always, great time spending time with you talking horses. We certainly look forward to doing it again. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good luck with your picks at Churchill and everywhere else. And good luck at the races.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, everybody.
Good luck.